Hello everyone, and welcome aboard to another great show here on Pegasus Netways. I'm Raul, and we want to welcome aboard one Clayton Bailey, who's going to bring to us the House Doctor. Clayton, welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me, Raul.
Now, this show is going to cover a lot of things as far as owning a home, maintaining a home, buying a home, selling a home. Am I right?
All of
Have
the
I
above.
covered all that?
All of the above, and then some.
This discussion is going to be having is going to have a big umbrella. So we're going to try our best to cover it in these next few minutes with Clayton Bailey, home inspector. He is with Green Scene Home Inspections. So he is a fourth generation real estate professional, owner of Green Scene Home Inspections, as I mentioned. So did you start out doing summer work with your family? This is a family business?
I actually did. I swore I'd never get into real estate after being a teenager and doing work on our parents' rental houses. So I grew up in Wichita, Kansas, central guy. And there's always lots of hailstorms, just like there are here in Dallas, Texas. And so we have many rental properties. And so my parents always wanted my father and I to re-roof the houses or re-side the houses or those things when the storms would roll through, so they could save the money instead of having to get somebody else to do it, because they had a young kid that was full of energy and vigor to do that. So I learned many of these things at a very young age.
What changed your mind?
I was up on the roof.
You weren't going to be real estate.
I was up on the roof one day, and I had been carrying bundles of shingles up and down a 2-story ladder, and just hot as hot could be. And I'm up on the roof. I finally get all the shingles up there, and I'm looking down, and there's no water. There's nothing in sight to drink, and I'm just done. I'm like, I'm never doing this ever again, and for nothing. And so that was kind of the moment that I decided that, this isn't for me. I'm going to get my college degree and go forward and change the path of the family tree, which had always been in the real estate or inspection business. So many years later, and tides have changed and things have turned, and here I am back into real estate. I've been doing it for 7 years now, full-time, but I did get started at a very young age. Helped build my first structure, probably was 16, 17 years old. We built a 2-story barn-style garage. So I had to go downtown and submit all the permits as a 16-year-old, and they didn't believe me that it was me and my father that were building this. And so my dad had to come back and go down there with me to do the permits, and he wasn't very happy because he was trying to use me to save time, and didn't work out. But we built a very large structure early on, and so that's really when I got into framing and electrical and all of that kind of fun stuff, and learning how everything works together. So you can't just have the brick mason build your entire house. It takes many people to come in and do those things, and sometimes you got to know which one of those traits are not doing their job, because then it's going to throw everything off.
No doubt. Now, Green Scene boasts of having a hybrid inspection team. You got to explain that. Hybrid inspection.
Absolutely. So most of your home inspectors out there are out there to look at the condition of the property, how it sits right now today, and those standards of practice are put out there by the Texas Real Estate Commission, and there are very specific rules and regulations that you have to abide by as an inspector. However, as a certified energy auditor, we are looking at the performance of the house. So it's kind of like if you were buying a car and it says, okay, it's got this engine in it, and it's got leather seats, and it's white, and it's got big rims, but what kind of gas mileage does it get? And that's the question that no one asks when they buy a house, is what kind of energy efficiency, what kind of performance can we expect out of this house? So that's where we step in, and we're one of the first in the Metroplex to be sort of offering that hybrid home inspection.
Now, you offer some home inspection services that can't be found anywhere else, and they look impressive. You got a reputation for great detail and thoroughness. You're a high-end inspection firm?
Yes. So there's a lot of real estate agents that love us, and there's a lot out there that hate us. So
wow.
It's always funny. We're very, very detailed, and we come at inspecting the house, and we treat every client like they're our own family, brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle, and I want to treat everybody like they're my personal family. And so we're going to look at everything that's going on with the house or that has happened with the house, and we're going to point all of these things out to any potential buyer, not to scare them, but just to say that, hey, in the past, this has happened. You might watch out for this later on down the road. So a lot of real estate agents do not like that because they think that you're scaring their clients the other direction. It's always funny, though, that those real estate agents call me personally when they buy a house, but they don't use their regular inspectors for that moment when they're purchasing their own property.
Well, that's got to give you a warm fuzzy, doesn't it?
It really does. So that's why I'm not very offended when I know some of my friends out there that I socialize with in the real estate world don't use me, but they do call me whenever it's time to buy their house.
All right. Now, it says in my notes here, you have a home energy assessment, which is testing the performance of your home with a state-of-the-art blower, door, and thermal imaging camera.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting fancy and schmancy here.
It really is. It's a lot of expensive gear, and basically there's kind of two different ways we do it. We can do just a regular comprehensive or just a regular energy assessment where we're looking at the house and kind of how it performs, and we're making suggestions on the simple things that you could do to sort of enhance the performance of the house. Now the blower door and the thermal imaging usually comes more so for new home construction, where by today's current building standards the house has to be at a certain tightness, and so the blower door is something that gets set up, and it's a fan that depressurizes the house at a certain rate to tell me how much leakage is in the house. So just for an example, if you have 20 or more can lights in your house, it's like having a standard size window, 3 foot by 5 foot tall window. It's like having that window open 365 days a year with some of your older style can lights. So all your air conditioning just leaks out into the attic through the can lights, and so you're not keeping the air inside your house, and so that's the name of the game. Today I just did an inspection in McKinney on a new home construction, and the homeowner told me that he could tell a difference in his energy bill when he changed to the newer, better style air filter. His bill went up, and that's because that air filter does pull out more particulates out of the air, but that's a very tight house. And so whenever I turn on all the bathroom exhaust fans in the house and I turned on the fireplace, the bathroom exhaust fans actually depressurized and started pulling the gases from the fireplace back into the house because the house was so tight. And so a normal Energy Star certified house, that the whole air, all of the air in the house should change over about once every 3 hours or so. So in a older house, pier and beam styled house, if you set up that blower door, all of the air in the house is changing over about every 45 minutes to an hour. So you're paying to cool all of that air, and then it just leaks out into the abyss. So our mom's always said, close the door. I'm not paying to air condition the world, and it's
There's
a
some truth
true
to that.
statement.
Okay.
Yes. She's absolutely right.
Well, now that kind of leads to this next point. You specialize and an expertise in inspecting pier and beam homes. So those older homes have specifics that aren't met or don't have in the newer homes, simply because they're on pier and beams.
Yeah.
You got that crawl space underneath the house. What is it you do specifically in that?
It's funny. I in the inspection world, living in East Dallas, that was my stomping grounds, and most homes in East Dallas are older pier and beam homes, and I became sort of the pier and beam guy because a lot of the older inspectors just didn't want to crawl the crawl spaces anymore, and that generally is where the most damage happens and or occurs because no one ever goes under there. Everyone's scared to go under there. So the inspector comes along, he goes under there and finds out that you've had severe termite damage for decades, or that the shower pan is rotted out and there's water leaking all into the crawl space, and now we've got funky moldy bits everywhere in the crawl space. And so it became a very important part to me to do that crawl space, and so I kind of became known as the pier and beam guy. But I grew up in an older house, and I really like the older houses, and I'm all for trying to save them instead of knock them down.
There's a certain charm to those houses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The wood that a lot of those older houses are built with is first generation timber, and it's some of the best quality wood that you can get. So you can't get that kind of quality today with new home
A
construction.
laminate just doesn't do it.
Not gonna happen.
You got move-in sustainability tips, advice on everything from air quality, water usage, home insulation, recycling centers, composting tips. Wow, you got it covered here on this one.
We've got an IT guy that helped us make our own program that's on our website, so you can plug in your address of where you are, and it pops up on a map and you just click if you're trying to recycle old paint, or maybe you've changed your oil in your car and you want to know what's the closest place I can take the oil, or it's e-waste, or it's any one of these things. So you can just pull up the map and plug it in and click what you want, and it'll tell you what is the closest place that accepts what you're trying to drop it off.
I'm going to have to check that out because I'm going to empty out my garage. All right. It also says you got tips on how to avoid junk mail. I got to know about that.
Yeah, so if you just remove yourself from the national do not call list, then you are supposed to stop receiving junk mail on a regular basis, and so that helps save the trees because you're not just throwing that useless piece of mail that you don't want straight into the trash. So good tips for that too.
My frustration comes during election time. You get all those flyers.
The flyers.
And I think they could use that money or use that paper for something else.
Yeah, I think we're getting more advanced this day with social media about how advertising is done, so it's a good thing.
You also have a discount for hometown heroes.
Absolutely.
Police, teachers, clergymen, government workers, firefighters, military, veterans. You got to tell us more about that one.
So we really care about our people that take care of us. So the people that are always taking care of us, it's always good to give back. I always have had that Hometown Heroes discount for police and firemen and veterans, teachers. These are people that, generally need a break, and so we are very happy to help them and give them a break for that Hometown Heroes discount.
Can you give us an example of what kind of break you give?
So it could be anywhere from $50 to $99 off the cost of the inspection, and they'll probably get a couple other little perks in there as well.
Okay, you hear that? If you got some Hometown Heroes you want to help, these are the people to call. Let's use this time now to take a short break for some messages. You're listening to The House Doctor with Clayton Bailey. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Blake Hammerton, and I am from The Sharp Gentleman. If you're in the DFW area and you could look better than you do, or your husband could look better than he does, I am here to help. With custom-tailored menswear to fit all walks of life, bodies, shapes, and sizes, I am here to make sure you look your sharpest. You can reach me at 972-383-9607 and www.thesharpgentleman.com.
Texas is the most recognized icon in the world, and what a treat to live in this beautiful state with all the talent and diversity that we have to offer. Please visit our website, texasbytexans.com. There you can be introduced to some wonderful talent. Everything is authentically made in Texas, from food to clothing to home to garden, and wait till you check out our musicians. Texas by Texans. It's the real deal. texasbytexans.com.
Welcome back to The House Doctor with your house doctor, Clayton Bailey. This is Raul introducing the show to you, I should say. It's our newest show here on PNW. And we just got through discussing discounts or
the Hometown Heroes.
The Hometown Heroes discounts you give, which covers police, teachers, clergy, government workers, firefighters, military, and our veterans, which is, as you said, it's always good to give back.
Absolutely.
You've got a little bit more to add to that, don't you?
We do. I'm a firm believer and you need to help somebody every day, and that's I think why we've been successful as a business, because I do treat everybody personally like a family member, and I'm always happy to give back, because a lot of people are stressed out during those situations. So we've taken up the initiative to sort of have a monthly cause, and last month we did adopt a classroom where we gave a certain portion of our proceeds. We collected that for the month, and we gave $1,000 in total to an elementary school in Irving who needed some Google Chromebooks for their class. They didn't have enough of them to go around to where the kids could learn and have more time with those Google Chromebooks. So it was a pretty cool thing going in and being interviewed by a whole classroom of fifth graders, and you could imagine the questions that they have for you about your business and what you do. And it was a lot of fun to do that. This next month we're doing another drive. One of our inspectors, his daughter's a Girl Scout, and they're collecting blue jeans that will be turned into insulation, and that insulation then will be all donated for Habitat for Humanity homes. So
you just told me during the break that shredded denim makes a great insulator.
It really does. It's harder to find it, hence that they have these drives to try to get people to give up their jeans that they can't fit into anymore. But denim, as you know, we know it's been a tried and true method of wearing it, that it's a great insulator. So what they do is they shred it up. It is treated with a fire retardant chemical so that it doesn't burn, and then it is put in the walls, generally the walls of these new construction houses, and it makes a really good insulator.
I'm sure somebody goes through and takes out all the brass and zippers.
Oh yeah. There's machines that they run it all. There's
okay.
machines that they run all the denim through to sort of just shred it all up and process it and treat it and do it, and then it just comes out like this beautiful final product.
Things to do with that recycled brass or the zippers.
Yeah, I'm sure they
melt them down.
I'm sure they melt that off and send it to scrap.
Well, moving from denim insulation to other topics, you're also offering a free utility connection service. Helping set up with water, gas, electricity. Does that include cable?
It does. It includes
internet?
it includes everything. So it's a company that we've partnered with. Doesn't cost our clients anything. It's absolutely free. And if you really think about it, when you move, you gotta say, okay, I gotta get the water turned on. I gotta get the gas and the electric and all that stuff turned on. So our company, a secondary company, what they do is they make all the phone calls for you, and they know who to contact and how to get a hold of them, and they'll go find all the cheapest rates or deals, whether it be electric providers or security companies or what have you, and they come back to you and say, okay, here's what's available in your area, and here's what you like or what you have, and you get to pick what would you like to use or what would you like to turn on. And so then they make sure by the closing date, by the time you're at your title company and you've signed on your house and you're all happy, ready to go, that you go check out your new house and that all the utilities are on and everything's ready to go. So it's a great service. I found it through some home builders who are offering it to their clients, and it's just a great way to not spend so much time on the phone getting all those utilities turned on.
The frustrating part is getting everybody to chime in at one time.
Yep.
The specific date.
Yeah.
So I can see how that's quite handy. That's wonderful. So what makes you want to share all this information with our radio audience?
Well, that's a great question. I've seen thousands of houses, and there's always times where I'm looking at something and I just say, I wish the homeowner would have just done this or X, Y, and Z. And it's one of those things where I'm very excited to come on board and to do the show so that we can point out these potential things that can happen and the things that I have seen that have happened so that you don't have to go through that and have to spend money when you don't want to spend money, and maybe you can cut it off at the pass.
Well, so with that, you're going to bring experts aboard to talk with you on the show about certain.
Absolutely. So our goal is that we're teaming up with the pest control guy. We're teaming up with some contractors, foundation companies, some chimney sweep people to kind of tell them what's the easiest way for me to maintain this. Our upcoming show with our pest control guy, he's going to be talking about rodents. So it's coming up in wintertime where all those critters that are outside, yes, they're going to want to come inside. So how do we keep them from coming into our house? So we're going to have a whole bunch of great tips and ideas to keep those pesky critters from coming inside and making more roommates in your house that you don't want.
Well, you're also going to bring in experts that are going to have our listeners go through some education on residential energy consumption. Am I right?
Yep. Absolutely.
And they're going to tell us sometimes it's just a simple adjustment.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's funny because people call me and they say, we just moved into this house and I know we didn't use you for the inspection, but I've got an $800 electric bill and it's just as much as the mortgage and I need to know what is going on here. And so, doing all of the official certifications with the blower door and infrared doesn't necessarily need to happen. They might just need a basic energy assessment. And sometimes people just don't see the big elephant in the room until you reveal it and show them that, hey, this thing right here is costing you lots of money. Had a guy who moved into an older house in Junius Heights in Dallas, downtown Dallas. Beautiful old house, and he knew it was going to be an energy hog, but he didn't know it was going to be that big of an energy hog. And I show up and I'm looking at it. He's got a pool there, and he has a waterfall feature, and it was just running as it could be. And he had just got home from work to meet me there. And I asked him, I said, do you run that waterfall all the time? And he said, well, of course. I said, well, you don't need to run that waterfall all the time. You only need to run it when you have guests over and you're trying to make it look pretty. The pool is still going to circulate. So he had a 3 horsepower pump moving that water 24 hours a day, and so his bill was just astronomical. So I said, you just need to turn this off and flip the switch, and next month his bill was down to $400.
Okay.
So
Simple adjustment.
it was just a simple thing, but it's somebody that's coming in that's honest and trying to tell you, hey, this is the low-hanging easy thing for you to do, versus the air conditioning guy that's coming in and saying, oh, well, you need to put in a whole new air conditioning system and then you'll save money. Well, that air conditioning guy is not looking at your swimming pool. He's not looking at how the house is built or the way that it faces and all of these other variables that come into energy efficiency. And so when you show those things to people, it's very enlightening, and the light bulb sort of goes off, and it always makes me smile to sort of enlighten people in that area. No pun intended.
Okay, so you offer little tips and little adjustments like that, but do you also do repairs? Do you?
No, we do not do repairs ourselves.
But you have references for those?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So how long have you been practicing in the home inspection business profession, and how many inspectors do you have?
We've got 6 inspectors total. We started in 2007.
Okay.
Green Scene Home Inspections did. And we are up to, as a company, almost 4,000 houses to date. So we've done a lot of houses.
Now, do you have a membership in a professional home inspector association?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
so we're members of the local TERI, which is Texas Association of Real Estate Inspectors, as well as the INTRNACHI's International Inspectors.
Now, I'm asking him all this, listeners, because you've got to know he has the stuff to talk about what he's talking about. So do you participate in any continuing education programs to keep your expertise up?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's very similar to a realtor where you have to keep those continuing educations. So we've got to do 32 hours
a lot of people
every
don't know
2
that.
years. Yeah. So and my inspectors, we sort of, as a company, we pay for all the continuing education for all of our inspectors.
Mm-hmm.
And so if anybody feels weak in a specific area, then we immediately sign them up for that field and make sure that they stay highly educated, involved, and making sure that everybody's on their game. So every so many years the building codes change, and you have to stay up with those changes to know that you're not barking up the wrong tree and scaring somebody when they don't need to be scared.
And not only do they change, but they change from area to area.
That's
because as we expand in our little corner of the world here, urban sprawl is going to...
It's funny because, like, in McKinney, where I just left, so everybody has adopted a different generation of the building code. So every 3 years or so, it comes out, a new building code comes out. And some cities are just not as quick to adopt those codes. And so some of your smaller rural towns, they may be on a 2006 International Residential Code, the IRC, where in Frisco, they stay tight with the newest thing that is the latest and greatest, and it just changes from area that you go. In Highland Park or University Park, they're still on the 2009 IRC. So we have to look at all homes under new standards, new construction, and we are always very good about explaining to, I know you're buying a 1950s house, but I've got to tell you all this stuff. But it wasn't built like that, and unless it's a safety thing or unless it's broken, we really can't go back to the seller and ask them to upgrade it.
We're assuming you're bonded and insured.
Absolutely.
That's just the
the state requires that for sure, but we still have more than that. Yeah,
and you can provide references.
Yeah, we're one of the highest reviewed companies on the internet. So we've got our people love us on Yelp and Google Plus, and we're very fortunate to have really happy customers that have been awesome to leave great reviews.
Can a home buyer or a home owner, or maybe even the realtor, tag along with the inspection?
Absolutely. We encourage that. Not necessarily during the entire time, because it tends to turn people into a basket case because they see all of the pictures that we're taking and they just get more and more nervous as we take more and more pictures. We really prefer for people to kind of show up towards the end, and then what we do is we take on average 140 to 180 pictures of the house that could be something that's a deficiency thing or something that has happened or a home maintenance or a pest control type of issue, and we review that. And one of the things that makes us different from anybody else in the city so far that I know of is that we record that whole session. So we record that whole photo presentation at the end where we're telling our clients what's going on. And this has been really nice because if you've got a first-time home buyer, mom and dad are always looking over their shoulder and want to know what's going on, so then mom and dad can watch the video and see what's going on. Works great for new construction as well, because the buyer can then turn that video over to the builder and say, this is what the inspector is talking about, versus reading the very legal black and white report, which is maybe and or very legal terms, where the videos works out really nice.
Well, what does that inspection include when you're going through somebody's place?
Great question. So it's pretty much everything from the dirt to the shingles. Okay. So it's foundations and grading and drainage and roof structure, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, sprinkler systems, pools, pretty much the whole everything that's in the house. So we as inspectors are generalists. I've got to know electrical code. I've got to know the HVAC codes. I've got to know all those building codes. But if we see something that is not functioning right or not working right, then we've got to call that electrician or roofer or what have you to come give you some cost estimates. Or we as inspectors are not allowed to give out, hey, this is going to cost this much to fix. All we can do is say, hey, this is broken. This needs to be repaired, and we need to get the AC guy to come give you some cost estimates to get it fixed.
And you do give out a sample of the report.
What's that?
You do give out a sample of the report
absolutely.
To everybody who requests, or just
yes,
to the homeowner?
Well, I'm working for our buyer specifically, so okay. It's kind of like doctor-client privilege,
okay,
or attorney-client privilege, whichever way you want to look at it. So they're paying me for the report, so they're the only ones that have access to the report. So if they choose to share it with the other side, the sellers or any other parties, then they can absolutely do that. But we don't provide it to anybody but the client. Yeah.
And do you have any special expertise?
Any special expertise? I would say that in the energy efficiency realm is probably our specialty.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of home inspectors out there that are
and listening
have
to you
energy
talk about that, it sounds
like
that's you really zero in on that, and that's more important.
I think as our Metroplex sprawls and
yeah.
grows, that it is becoming a more important thing, so that we don't use as much. We don't have very much water. I know California is struggling right now, but all of the people are coming out of the woodwork trying to figure out ways to save water and save electricity, and so it's an important issue as the Metroplex grows, that we are looking at strengthening some of our energy needs and water needs.
It's The House Doctor, airing on Thursday mornings at 10:30 here on Pegasus, and also that later in the evening at 6:30, covering a whole realm of home, what you need to do before you buy a home, before you sell a home, before you go through the process of getting a home. You want to give your contact information?
Sure. It's Clayton Bailey with Green Scene Home Inspections. You can reach us on your mobile device, which is gshi.co. And then our email is really long, but it's green, like the color, scene, SCENE, home inspections with an S.com. And then you can reach us at our office at 214-796-7707.
Clayton Bailey with The House Doctor, our newest show here on Pegasus Netways. We look forward to it. Thursdays at 10:30. Clayton, welcome aboard.
Thank you. It's good to be here.